Hello students and welcome to Toppscholars. Students, today we'll be learning about another very interesting topic, that is Kingdom Protista. So students, let us first talk about the characteristics of the Kingdom Protista. These belong to the Kingdom Protista and they are nucleated unicellular microorganisms. Yes students, there are no multicellular organisms in this particular kingdom. They are primarily aquatic animals, usually found in fresh water, and they form the connecting link between Monera, which is the kingdom including all the bacteria, and the multicellular eukaryotes like fungi, plantae, and animalia. These protists are mostly found in the form of planktons. Now students, do you understand what is meant by planktons? These are organisms which kind of just float on water and they cannot swim against the current. Also students, some of them live inside humans and other animals as parasite. For example, malaria is caused by the Plasmodium vivax parasite. Moving on students, some examples of protists are algae. And when I say algae, I am mainly talking about unicellular algae. Other examples include slime molds and protozoans. Let us now move on to the structure of the protist. Let us first see how the cell wall is. The cell wall is usually present in phytoplankton, and when I say phytoplankton, I am mainly talking about the unicellular algae. Students, the cell wall is absent in some other protists like protozoans, example being amoeba, paramoecium, etc. As these are eukaryotic cells, there are membrane-bound organelles as well as a membrane-bound distinct nucleus and nucleoli is present. Paramoecium has an exception. Instead of having one nucleus, paramoecium shows nuclear dimorphism, wherein it has one large called as the meganucleus and one small nucleus called as the micronucleus. As these are eukaryotes, they have many eukaryotic cell organelles like mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, etc. Students, now let us talk about locomotion. The very first thing which comes to mind is pseudopodia. Pseudo meaning false and podia meaning feet. These are basically false feet-like structure. These are found in examples like sarcodines, slime molds, and also in this beautiful example, that is amoeba. The pseudopodia are of different types. Let us see the various types: lobopodia, philopodia, axopodia, and reticulopodia. Students, these are all pseudopodia, but the different types depend upon the various structures. Now let us talk about flagella. A flagella is a long whip-like structure which is present in many protists like dinoflagellates, euglenoids, and zooflagellates. Students, cilia is another important locomotory structure which is present in a very famous organism known as paramoecium. Next students, sporozoans don't usually show presence of special locomotory structures. If you have seen the movement of a mosquito larvae, we call it the wriggling locomotion, and similar locomotion is seen in sporozoans. Students, remember that sporozoans are protists which cause diseases. Next, we have diatoms which move by propulsion of mucilage. After locomotion, students, now let us study about nutrition. That is, what is the mode of nutrition in different protists. The very first mode is holophytic, meaning these are protists which can make and produce their own food. Second is saprotrophy, or the organisms are called saprotrophic because they mainly depend upon dead and decaying organic matter. Third one, we have parasitic mode of nutrition, which is mainly seen in examples like Plasmodium vivax, which is a parasite on humans. Next, we have mixotrophic. Students, mixotrophic is basically a mixture of various different types of modes of nutrition. For example, euglena is autotrophic when light is present and it is heterotrophic when light is not present. Students, the last type of nutrition mode is symbiosis. Symbiotic relationships are one where protists form different relationships with other organisms which makes them live together.
To learn more about this topic, download Toppscholars app.